Good afternoon, welcome to the Midday Mull for Tuesday, the 23rd of February. In Luke chapter 9, Jesus is engaging with his disciples and has told them once that he's heading to Jerusalem where he's going to be executed, and he then repeats it. In verse 44 we read that Jesus said to them, "Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men." But they did not understand what this meant. It was hidden from them so that they did not grasp it, and they were afraid to ask him about it. An argument started among the disciples as to which of them would be the greatest. And as I read that, I thought, that is just so typically human. Jesus says something, they don't grasp it, but they don't ask him. they rather keep quiet. That is so much like what I do, where there's some things mentioned and some people are talking about something, I don't quite understand what they're saying, but I don't want to ask because that'll make me look stupid, so I'll just keep quiet. And certainly my experience in the school was like that. You explain something to a class, everybody, do you understand? Lots of nodding heads. Do a quick little test and you find out that 3/4 have no clue what you're talking about. That's what humans are like. Jesus says something, the disciples, these godly men, don't understand, so they keep quiet. And then they go and have an argument about who's going to be the greatest, who is going to sit at Jesus' right hand. They get it completely wrong. And Jesus ends up saying to them, if you want to be great, you've got to be the least amongst all. He puts a child in the middle of them and says, this is what greatness will look like, humility and service. And as I read that, it's encouraging, because these frail, failing individuals that was just so absolutely human were the very people that were used by God. Jesus hadn't chosen them because they're particularly spiritual. These were not the brightest and best of the day. These were not people that stood head and shoulders above the crowds. These were just people that were normal, and yet God used them. This was the Peter that preached on Pentecost. This was the James that was prepared to be executed. This was the John that in his old age, in exile on the island of Patmos, could write his gospel and could receive the revelation to John. These were the people God used. Ordinary people with ordinary human failings. And if God could use them, it means he can use people like me, and that's always an encouragement. And I pray that you'd be encouraged by that as well. Know that God can use you, not because of who you are or anything innate in you, but because of who God is. And that God can use anyone. And so I pray you'll let him do that in your daily walk, as you go through life, as you interact with people in ordinary, everyday events, that you be prepared to say, God, I'm prepared for you to use me in whatever way you want. And you'll be amazed at what God can do. I'm sure that these ordinary disciples were amazed at what God did in and through them. So I pray that you'd know that, be encouraged by it, and experience his blessing.